Welcome back. Well, readership results came out this week for newspapers and magazines. Let's get the details. Mediaweek's James Manning, of course, in the studio with us as always. James, was this a case of print down, digital up again?
Pretty much, especially in newspapers. The readership figures were down a little bit, but the total readership numbers were up when you account all the digital properties, mobile, on the web, tablet editions. When you factor all that in, they don't look too bad. We'll get the circulation figures. They're out at the end of this week, so we'll be able to chat about next week to get a bigger picture. The readership numbers for magazines, yeah, some up, some down. Some of the niche titles not doing too badly, and we had the first year-on-year comparisons for a lot of the titles, so they weren't too bad. But again, the full picture is when we get the circulation as well next week. Okay,
let's talk the Kennedy Awards, the New South Wales Journalism Awards. Adele Ferguson certainly coming on top, Journalist of the Year. Who else were the winners?
Yeah, sure. John Stanley won for his work on 3AW, long-time broadcaster. He's doing breakfast at the moment on 2UE, so let's hope he can get his numbers moving there. Mark Murray and Miranda Devine won Scoop of the Year for their work at the Daily Tally on breaking that Roger Rogerson story.
Yep.
And then, look, there's a lot of winners from Fairfax News, the Seven Network. Some of their news guys won awards too.
OK, and just looking at into advertising now, an APN outdoor float, that's a step nearer. There's been advisors appointed on that now.
Yeah, look, we covered outdoor on the show just last week, I think.
Last week.
It was a long time ago. Yeah, Quadrant Private Equity is the owner of APN Outdoor. They're talking about a float in the second half of next year. Came out today, they've appointed some advisors there on the float, so I would imagine they'll be pretty successful. There's a lot of interest. Some talk Nine could be interested in being an investor there, Nine Entertainment. So.
OK, and in terms of online, BuzzFeed's made some announcements about expanding.
Yeah, look, they came into Australia, launched at the start of this year.
Yep.
It seems to be going pretty well for them. They're going into some non-English speaking territories now, India, Japan, Germany and Mexico, starting a motion pictures division, which will make, I think, what we know as motion pictures, full-length, long-form, but they'll also cover everything from down to short Vine-like videos and everything in between.
OK, let's move on to some job changes. Always fun to talk about. Former 10 Chief Grant Blackley has a new role. What's he up to?
Yeah, look, he's been a pretty busy boy. I think he had a bit of a gardening leave he had to serve out. And he's joined Keystone Group as their chief executive. They're in the hospitality business, got about 16 different venues around Sydney. They've bought something else called PRG, which is a bit more of a national thing, and they've actually got the licence to the Jamie Oliver Italian restaurants. I think there's 2 or 3 of them around the country. They're going to build some more. But he's also an investor with Hugh Marks in the RGM, artists management company. They manage Kate Blanchett, among others, but also writers and directors. So they've had that for a little while. But yeah, so he's got his finger in a few pies.
OK, and still with former 10 executive, former news boss Anthony Flannery. Now he's moved into a media relations role.
Yeah, look, he stepped aside when Peter Meakin joined the company last year, so it wasn't room for 2 new chiefs. So Anthony was the one to step back. Yeah, he's going to work at Vodafone, head of their media relations. It's always good when somebody who's worked in the editorial side of the business is looking after the media operations, Ingrid.
Yep. Finally, Kyle and Jackie O this week. We saw a bit of an argument really happen on air. Was this a bit of a publicity stunt?
Well, a lot of people thought it was. Duncan Campbell spoke. He had him on the show talking about radio ratings not that long ago. He said, look, it was all pretty genuine. They did have a spat, but it certainly worked, though. It got them, I don't think the station discouraged that. They're
they talked about it a lot.
Yeah. That's when the show always does best, when they're airing all the dirty laundry in public. The audience love it, the media loves it, they all write about it.
Yeah.
And, subsequently you might see a bump in the
Got a lot of airtime. We've got a lot of airtime, that. OK, let's take a look now at some of the ratings for week 32, starting with free to air. You can see there, of course, Nine dominating the top 5, really.
Yeah, 4 of the top 5. The Block doing very well for them. It's really the standout program at the moment.
OK, turning the page. And you can see there,
Block, X Factor sneaking into the top 10 there. We've talked recently, the numbers are down a little bit, but it's still holding up pretty well with the demos thereafter, et cetera.
OK, subscription TV now, ratings for week 32, starting with sport, AFL, NRL, no surprises there.
3 weeks till the finals, Ingrid.
Yep, coming up, and let's check the next 5 there. Of course, non-sport. The Recruit coming in number 1.
Sort of non-sport, isn't it? But it's a sport.
Well, sporting non-sport.
Yeah. So you can argue which column that should be.
Of course, coming in number 1. OK, let's return now on a bit more about TV. BBC Worldwide splashing some cash on Doctor Who.
Yeah, look, they spent a bit of money at touring the new Doctor around the world, 7 cities in 4 days, I think it was. 5 cities and 7.
Yeah.
What is it? It's a whistle stop tour. Sydney was lucky enough to get one of the stops. It was here this week. Look, got a lot of airtime. Everybody was writing about it. And the ABC making the most of it too, because it's one of the few properties they still get as a premiere screening with the new BBC First deal. Everything else goes to BBC First. So the ABC making the most of this. It'll launch next weekend. They'll simulcast it, I think, early Sunday morning, our time. With when it goes to air in the BBC, on the BBC in London, and then it'll screen on the ABC TV on Sunday evening.
Yeah, definitely interesting. Also this week, of course, sad news about Robin Williams passing, and some tributes are being programmed on television this week, some rating pretty well.
Yeah, look, Fostertel's been showing a lot of Robin Williams movies all week. They've got a marathon on Sunday. But Channel 10 threw Mrs Doubtfire on air on Tuesday night, and lo and behold, I think it was their best Tuesday of the year, so it really worked for them, really tapping into that sort of, cultural moment, if you like, and the audience paid them back.
A couple of TV personalities as well getting some grief from paparazzi.
Yeah, look, you can't feel too much for them. I mean, Sonia Kruger and Joanna Griggs, it's not nice to be hassled for your photo, I guess, but look, Sonia was in Hawaii.
Not if it's not a good photo.
Yeah, Joanna was in San Francisco, so, come on, guys.
All right, well, on a good note there. That is all we have time for on this edition of Media Week. Big thank you to Media Week editor James Manning. From the team here, thanks for your company.